Okay, so I'm slightly pissed off because every other presenter that I spoke to tonight said, I'm just going to read my presentation because it's so fucking hard, and no one has yet, so thanks for that. I'm going to read mine. Wow. So I get that this is Visa Wellington on a plate, and it's about food and wine, but the theme of the night is actually about Imbibe, and thank you, Martin, for actually sending me the definition, which says to take or receive into the mind as knowledge, ideas, or the like. So I first started thinking about doing a piece about Wellington and the wonderful things it has to offer. Craft beer, Beth, I'm really happy I didn't do that. Great coffee, wonderful restaurants, great local produce, all that stuff. But then I thought, I'm sure there are far more people more qualified than me to talk about that. I mean, after all, Martin Bosley is actually here tonight. Besides, everyone already knows about this stuff, or so I thought. So what is something people don't know about, and what can I present for 6 minutes and 40 seconds that I'm qualified to talk about? What knowledge could I impart on all of you? And I thought, well, I'm working in one of the few industries that seem to have been singled out by John Key as flying in the face of dying Wellington. An industry that we should be proud of, and yet even John Key mistakenly referred to all of us as simply Weta. So the idea behind my presentation is to try and explain to you all how the Miramar film companies work, to set out how they came to be, remove some of the confusion behind them, and give you a brief glimpse at what we do. So even more inappropriately than Beth, Fabio, away we go. So I run Park Road post-production, not Weta, and to be even more accurate, not Weta Digital and not Weta Workshop. Park Road is not part of Wingnut, although the owners of Wingnut Films also own Park Road. Dazed? Confused? Yeah, most people are, but it's not intentional. In the good old days, there was just Weta. Weta was founded in '93 by Peter Jackson, Richard Taylor and Jamie Selkirk, but Richard had been providing physical effects for Peter since Meet the Feebles. In '93, Weta was set up to work on Heavenly Creatures, which at the time was one of the first films to employ digital as well as physical effects. After the success of Heavenly Creatures, which premiered at the Venice Film Festival and received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay, Peter commenced work on his first big-budget Hollywood film, The Frighteners, released in '96. At the time, it had more visual effects than any other film and saw the birth of Weta Digital as a separate entity under the Weta banner. And then came Lord of the Rings. Peter won the rights to the books in '97 and shot the films over the period October 1999 to December 2000. Considered to be the most ambitious film project ever, taking 8 years to complete. It was through the process of making these films that the legend of the group was born. The three films together were nominated for 30 Academy Awards. They won 17. Return of the King won 11 awards in every category it was nominated, which has never been done before or again. The films were a reflection of the people that worked on them and of the man that led from the front. People gave everything for these films gladly because it was needed and expected. Since Rings, the company's reputations have grown. We're all focused on international business, but we still proudly work on local productions, and our success has meant that other films have sought out New Zealand. There are many things that influence a decision to shoot here, but one thing that is known to be a given is the quality of the crew and people. Weta Workshop, under Richard Taylor, is arguably the best physical effects company in the world. Unlike all their competitors, they are highly diversified. They make props, swords, armour, chainmail, models, miniatures, prosthetics, creatures, weapons, and some of the sculptures we see around Wellington. And unlike all their competitors, their founder can still be found on the workshop floor. Weta Workshop won awards for their amazing costume design and makeup, which included simple props like swords and armour, right through to complex full-body creature suits and armies of orcs. But again, their success lies in the unbelievable passion of Richard and his team for the work they do and the clients they do it for. Weta Digital, under Joe Lettieri, is accepted as one of the very best visual effects companies on the planet. They've won 5 Oscars, and the advancements they made in motion capture for Gollum and Lord of the Rings was the very reason James Cameron felt he could finally make Avatar. And James does not see Weta as simply a supplier. He credits them as a crucial partner. Digi now work almost exclusively on Hollywood studio films, and many that you wouldn't know about. Their most recent films, for example, were Iron Man 3, Man of Steel, and Wolverine. They have over 1,200 staff, they're a major contributor to our local economy, and are seriously good at what they do. They are the big player in our group. And so, what about Park Road? Well, we were actually born out of the government-owned National Film Unit that was purchased by Peter in the 90s. The film unit had completed post on all of Peter's previous films and pretty much all other New Zealand films at the time. As he worked through Lord of the Rings, he started to think that he would need a post house to round out the offer in Miramar. Peter's vision for a world-class post house was still being built as Return of the King was in post, but one of the sound mixing stages was finished and we had the staff and mixing consoles from Avalon, so we completed our first sound mix amongst the ongoing noise, dust and construction and won an Academy Award. A pretty good way to start. Today, Park Road is a world-renowned facility that employs about 80 staff. We have a good mix of local crew, including a number that were employed by the film unit going back nearly 40 years, and international operators. But we are very much a New Zealand business with a local and global focus, a strong culture of innovation and dedication to service. Our picture department works alongside the editors and the visual effects companies. We bring together the plates that were shot on set and the visual effects, and we work with a filmmaker and cinematographer to set the overall look and feel of a film. We make literally hundreds of small changes to eye colour, the sky, costumes, and to overall scenes. The sound department works separately on dialogue, music, and all the sound effects from footsteps to explosions. There are literally thousands of separate sound stems created for a big film. They then get mixed together in a huge cinema-sized theatre. Sound levels are changed and sounds are moved around the room to create a truly immersive experience. And we too have people that embrace the impossible. When Peter decided to shoot The Hobbit in 48 frames per second 3D, no one had ever done that before. You know what my guy said? Awesome. Let's create the world's first workflow to process, edit, grade and output 48 frames per second, and let's help develop the projectors so the film can be played. And like our other group companies, our focus is utterly on the filmmaker and enabling that person to realise their dream. That might be a first-time short filmmaker, Taika Waititi, or Steven Spielberg, but in each case we see our role as offering up our experience and expertise to ensure the final product looks and sounds the best it possibly can. And this experience comes into its own when the deadline looms. When Peter said that the last shot was dropped into The Hobbit on Sunday before the Wednesday premiere, what he didn't say was that we then had to check the film, make copies, play them down in the cinemas checking again, whilst also delivering the film separately to the studio so it could be sent to over 3,000 cinemas in the States alone. But that's post. We're at the end of a long process, and the nature of the very best filmmakers is that they want to use every minute available to them to make the best film they can. So we embrace that. We never say no, and we work right up to delivery if that's what it takes. The very best version of the film, on time, every time. But it's not like that with all companies in this industry. Our companies are the best in the world at what they do, not because we have the best gear or even the best people. We are the best because we care, because we've been founded by a filmmaker, by the end user of the services provided, by our client, and someone that wants to be the best, wants us to be the best, and all our people buy into that every day.